Salute, 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 salute. Another episode of the Apartment Back Show. It's me, your host, Sebastian Wentz. Follow me on Instagram @_Sebastian Wentz, where you check out my artwork and all of this splendor. Also, you can check out snippets of this. The clips that I drop on Instagram is right before I drop them on YouTube. Man, the Apartment Back Show is the most biased and the most unbiased review show out there. If you don't like what I'm kicking, like what I'm spitting, just know you tuned to this. The cloth is different. By the time this drops, I would have seen the movie The Black Adam, and I will probably review that next, more than likely. But let's talk about Amsterdam. Now, Amsterdam, I think, is going under the radar to most. I don't see it kicking up as much dust that I would like. It is one of my favorite films that I've seen this year. It's probably going to be on my yearly wrap-up of top 10 most appreciated films or dope films. Is going to be on that list. Now, Amsterdam stars Christian Bale, who's killing it right now. I think he's the most well-versed actor in the game right now, to me. He's killing it. Like, son is nice. You got Margot Robbie, John David Washington, who else, man? Let me see. Who was on here? Michael Shannon, Mike Myers, and a slew of others. They all listen. This is what I appreciate. I like comedy. The satire that's in it. These nice little quips. I appreciate this sort of comedy. I appreciate it. I don't like slapstick too much. I like this sort of comedy. It's an acquired taste. Don't get it twisted. It's definitely an acquired taste. But this is what I appreciate. I'm not one to the falling down the stairs trying to make me laugh. That never works for me. It just doesn't. Like when you don't, it's like bozo comedy. I call it bozo comedy. I'm not into bozo comedy. But enough rambling. Let's get back to Amsterdam. So boom, 3 friends, right? John David Washington, Christian Bale, Margot Robbie, right? So they're in the war. They're over there in the war. And they met Chris Rock too. So Chris Rock, he come into play. But so these 3, right? So Christian Bale and John David Washington. John David Washington was in the military, being mistreated. It's around the time civil rights movement. So they wasn't really trying to rock with something like that because he was black. They wasn't digging it. Like they was sending him like cattle to the slaughter. So they wouldn't respect him like that. So Christian Bale, I think he was a Jewish guy. He came through. He was like the head of this infantry per se. Put him in charge. He rocked with John David Washington. He was like, yo, you gonna treat us fair? He said, yeah. All right, we're cool. You my mans. Boom. So from that point on, they was rocking and rolling. Mad cool. All right. Had a little injuries, and they end up in the hospital. Margot Robbie's there, of course. And from the door, John David Washington seen her whole demeanor, he was attracted to her. Now, what Shorty did was she would take the shrapple, isn't it called shrapple? I think it's called shrapple, out of the bodies and make coffee mugs, cups, tabletops, utensils out of the shrapple. Taking out people's bodies. Yes, that's what she did. She was a creative, you would say. For lack of a better term, Shorty was a creative. So boom. He chopping it up to a John David Washington, giving her the game and whatnot. She was digging him. No front, she was digging him from day one. She was digging him. Boom. They, linked from that point on. They were linking, it started off as friends, like they were mad cool. Christian Bale, like, man, I thought you was my man. What are you doing over here talking to her? Like, can I introduce myself? So from that point on, it was the 3 of them. They were over in Amsterdam. It was the 3 of them rocking and rolling together. Boom. Lo and behold, something had took place that Christian Bale had to go back home to New York. All right, went back home. He became he was the first one to go. No, I think Margot Robbie disappeared on John David Washington, something like that. So boom, they all end up in New York again, right? Well, those 2, Christian Bale and John David Washington. He thought that Margot Robbie left him. She wrote like a Dear John letter to him. He was tight. Had to go to New York. They went to New York. So he's a lawyer now. Johnny Washington's a lawyer. Christian Bale's, or whatever. He lost his eye. Oh, the eye thing is wild. It was just bugged out. Like the glass eye thing was crazy. He was like administering morphine illegally. Like they was about to shut my man down. He had his back brace on. It was a catastrophe. Hilarious stuff. Hilarious. Like it's wild. So the opening scene, like within a few minutes of them getting back to New York, they end up in some just shenanigans. Shorty get ran over by a car. I think it was Taylor Swift. Think she get ran over by a car. They after him because they think that him and John David Washington did it. And of course they were trying to blame it on the black guy at this time. Like, you know what I mean? It didn't look good that he was rocking with him, but he was like a Jewish guy. Listen, movie's hilarious. So now they're in a kerfuffle. They're in some sort of a kerfuffle, right? So boom. In Michael Shannon, Michael Myers, this corporation. They have this corporation, and they're basically like the British intelligence, like the MI6 or something, right? So this other group is on Margot Robbie works for them. Like she works for this, this intelligence agency. Her brother's trying to kill her, like dosing her up. When John David Washington has to go to this crib, and lo and behold, Margot Robbie's there. Her brother's trying to kill her. His wife think Margot Robbie's losing it, think she's bugged out. So they thought that Margot Robbie's brother was with them. He was really trying to set them up, trying to smoke them, trying to work for this other corporation. It's like a history lesson here. It was like some sort of Nazi team that her brother was working for. Margot Robbie's brother was working for, right? In comes Robert De Niro, who is hilarious in the film, by the way. The facial expressions, the mannerisms, he's hilarious. Robert De Niro is hilarious. I like to see him in these type of films. They're funny to me. They just are. So Chris Rock is rocking and rolling with them. He was in the war. They things are taking place. Like the things are taking. It's not a dull moment within this film. Christian Bale's wife in the film is wilding on him. Like she wants him to be this successful doctor because her pops has high hopes for her. So she's shaming him and whatnot. Zoe Saldana comes through, start giving him some sort of rhythm and whatnot. And she starts digging him. He still loves his wife, and it's just, listen, it's never a dull moment with Christian Bale's character. Also, Margot Robbie is her character is very eclectic, that artsy sort of attitude. Chris Rock didn't OD with the comedy. It's well written, well directed. Salute to the satire, salute to the director. This is one of those films for me, man. I'm listen. Can't wait to come on DVD because I'll buy it and watch it again. Yes, I know. I'm that guy. So in the end, this is based on a true story. Like they showed the clip at the end of Robert De Niro and the real guy that he was portraying. They put it side by side. The speech that he had in the movie was actually a speech that was given. So that was dope. I really appreciated that. History lesson for me, man. So listen, go check out Amsterdam. I give it an 8 out of 10. Honestly, 8 out of 10 of Sebastian's artwork. Honestly, it's a dope film. Please go check it out. In the end. So in the end, the Margot Robbie's brother was a traitor. He was trying to set them up, like I said, and he was working with this other corporation, like the Nazis or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. And Robert De Niro stood firm with Mike Myers and Michael Shannon. He was with them. He was he just 10 toes down. He stood 10 toes down. That's basically the synopsis of the film. Remember, big shot is the number, little shot that kept shooting. A slow run is better than no run. If you don't like my reviews, cut me some slack, and if that ain't good enough, pardon my back. In the meantime, Sebastian West, like, share, subscribe. The Pardon My Back Show. Salute.